With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you'll get your first month free when you join.
So once we lock it in, I'm gonna throw a little housewarming party and all that. So y'all both welcome to come through, celebrate with us.
It's all right with the
big
wife.
Check we cutting, you know what I mean?
Big check, right?
Yeah.
Hey, wifey's cool with it. I'm cool with it, man. Yeah, man, bro. Hey, look, thanks again, man. Appreciate it.
Double up. 3 or 4 times, I ain't telling no lies, I just run it up. Never let a hard time over us. Double up. I ain't telling no lies, I just, I ain't telling no lies, I just 5, 4, 3, 2, that's time. I got to you.
What's your name, man? You new and upcoming, but you're at this summit. What's your name? Where you from?
My name is Nipsey Hussle. I'm from LA, Slauson, Crenshaw area.
Okay, well, Nipsey Hussle, that's named after Nipsey Russell, the comedian.
Correct, yeah.
So talk a little bit about yourself, man. What brings you up here, up and coming, and how come you're not blinging and having all kind of crazy diamonds and all that? I guess you're here to get your money right, huh?
All the time, I mean, all that is cool for the image and all that, but all them is liabilities, you feel me? I'd rather invest in some real estate, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, wait.
What are we doing, J Dollar?
What's up, bro?
I was trying to be polite and not interrupt your music, but then you just kept going.
Hey, don't critique me like that.
So what's going on?
Since we're all by ourselves, is Risey really streaming right now? That gay bitch.
I don't know. I unsubbed to Risey a while back.
Yeah, and then Raptor.
I unsubbed to him a while back too.
Yeah, I was surprised at the slob knobbing by Raptor in the chat earlier. I got a lot of opinions about tonight, and I don't really know how
to formulate the words just yet.
Yeah. Let me stand behind me real quick.
All right.
You don't realize how loud that bitch is until you fucking start a live stream and you can hear it.
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting evening. I got tipped off about the stream. Somebody texted me, and I saw something earlier about it, so I went and I watched it, and then I'm not subbed to Katie, but apparently I got, for the first time ever, got recommended one of her videos, and I tune in because I could see that they're EFAPing Dan, and that was a whole another, I don't know. It had Jay Bama fan on, and I got nothing against Jay, but he was saying some stuff that I'm like, Jay, you're kind of talking out your ass right now.
Right.
And I wanted to say something. I actually typed something and I never hit send because I was like, you know what? If I do, it's just gonna start shit,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I saw a bunch of people in the chat of Dan's stream cheering Dan on when I said the same stuff 6 months ago when I got called a sweeper. So that was interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am disappointed in Dan.
Well, you have a more personal relationship with him, so I can understand.
I think that's irrelevant.
No, it's not irrelevant. It's very relevant.
Right, I suppose.
Because I understand what you mean, but like I mentioned, he's not wrong. And if people took their emotions out of everything, no matter where you lay in this, if you just take your emotions out and look at what he's saying objectively, I think it's the same thing like we've all been saying for a while. And it's just kind of calling for unity, you know? And unity doesn't necessarily mean like being buddy getting along. It could mean that, but it could also mean like just staying out of each other's way and not talking shit about each other. You know? Because the end goal for everybody is basically the same, even if you don't like the people who are on the cruise ship with you. You know what I mean?
So, like, when I was watching that stream, I saw, like, Shay, who's the guy with the mohawk?
Luke.
Yeah, Luke, Jason, you know, and I see them, and, you know, I'm watching, like, Dan speak, and I'm watching all the people, and, you know, it's really odd because, you know, I'm like watching like Shay like lose her mind while some people are talking in chat. And so, you know, I'm listening to Dan talk about you know, I suppose like being the bigger person in the conversation, so to speak. That's not really what he's getting at. But that's how I take it. Hold on a second. And then he goes on about still being around. And so a long time ago, like in 2020, 2019, I don't even know when it was, like 4 or 5 years ago. No, I'm nobody in this argument per se, but
Right.
I feel like my sentiment is I'm not speaking for myself. You know, like even though I was speaking for myself, I feel like I was not speaking for myself. I was speaking for like the broader independent movement at that time, 4 or 5 years ago, right? So
Right.
one of the first things, like when Dan first showed up, I was on a stream with him in the back, and I was like, "Yo, bro, there was like passive conversations going on. There was like this and that, you know, nothing big, nothing important, so to speak. But like, you know, one of the things I said to Dan was like, you know, if you're gonna move into this arena, this little small indie arena, you know, don't disappear." And he's like, "You know, bro, I'll never disappear. And he was like kind of one of the bros. People started to meet him. You know, he was you know, like a pillar outside of like what was being made, but he was still relevant, kind of like a dad figure, so to speak. You know, like if you want to like look into what he's saying, kind of like a dad figure, so to speak. And so like, you know, and the homie disappears. And you know, one of the last times I tweeted Dan was like text Dan was like in 2022, and it's 2025. And so you know, how many times do you need to listen to someone? So say for example, you raise like $200,000-$300,000 and you disappear for a few years, and then you come back and you do this. This is like the conundrum that I'm facing. Like, you know, man to man. This is like the things that I'm thinking in my head. how do you we have these chats, and then we meet in person. You show some type of loyalty to this like YouTube thing. I don't know what it is, but like there's clearly some type of emotional there's something behind it, right?
Right.
And then you disappear for a few years, and then you come back, like I was just saying, and then like it's like almost you want to scream, but like at the same time you understand, because some people want to be passive, and maybe why they disappeared is because of personal feelings towards like John Malin and Shane, as Dan Frega explained. But I think a lot of these people are, I can't, it's really hard being robbed and then having someone come back and speak like words into the ether, where they are trying to quell issues, but at the same time like speak upon the narrative that's being, so it's like it's almost like these people are living in the past, and like so when they come back, the things that they're talking about are like 2, 3, 4 years old. But it's interesting because the things that they're talking about that are 2, 3, 4 years old are still relevant to them as an individual. I don't know how to word this. Like, I cannot imagine taking like $200,000 from people, disappearing for a few years, and then coming back and pretending like nothing happened. And like I really want to cuss. I really want to be non-professional. I really, it's like, how do you deal with these people? Because you like them, and maybe not necessarily what happened had been on purpose, but like, so at what year does it become to the point like when will people wake up, like you stole from us, you're like, oh, it takes so long to make this thing, I had to rewrite it, I had so many problems, like I just, there's like I don't understand how fucked up some of these people have to be in their personal lives. Like, there's so many questions. Anthony, do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like I want to say some things, and then my brain says something else, and then I want to go on that, and then my brain says,
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. But
it's
you're
very
asking somebody
hard.
who's got an issue himself that has a project that I can't discuss the ins and outs of why it's late legally. So it puts me in a little bit of a rough spot, you know. Um, but there are things that happen, everybody's quote unquote things that happen are different, obviously. Um,
Who do you give
but
a pass to, right? Who do you give a pass to? So
I don't know. I mean, do I get a pass because I'm on streams every day, and Dan doesn't because he wasn't on streams every day? Like, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. Like, where does maybe nobody gets a pass? I probably shouldn't get a pass.
I don't, to be honest with you, Anthony, I've never bought anything from you.
No, I hear you.
You know what I'm saying?
But people have.
Bryzy, have you been listening? Can you like, does it make sense?
The what?
Does it make sense?
What the tsunami? Is this about like the cyclone Alfred?
Well, I don't know anything about that.
Oh, well, Liam knows all about that.
I just like, how long can you deal with these people? And then when they come back, they're showing a smile. They got a lot of friends behind them. Like,
Are you talking about people or the picture we're looking at?
but like, do you ever feel like you've been robbed from someone, and then they show up, and they're like,
Do I feel like I'm fucking goddamn overlooked and used and treated like a fucking pawn on a board of chess? Is that what you're asking?
that's a good way. That's a very good way to say it.
Yes. And this is the thing where I always say, I'm like, just because I'm not going to be on the board anymore doesn't mean the game's not going to be continually played over and over and over again. It's just going to be different people and pieces shifted out, and people will be elevated to rooks, kings, brooks, and then fucking everything, whatever the chessboard thing is. I don't actually play chess, so I don't know the actual game. But I heard an analogy once that was
You were
like
good up until you said Brooks.
Brooks.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that is.
No, I get what you're saying, right?
Rooks.
Yeah, you said rooks, pawns, knights.
And who cares? I get what Risey was saying. Like,
but now
this is the thing that everyone's like throwing aside until you're like not good enough. And then once like you go against the grind, and it's like, wait, no, you're not meant to move in this certain spot. You're meant to move in this spot. Remember, this is how you've always moved, in this spot only. Why are you going out of the norm?
Yeah.
Risey, you just echoed my sentiments exactly.
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah.
I didn't even fucking hear it, man. I was listening.
No. I'm just saying, like,
I just ended my own stream, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to fucking host anymore. And I'm like, I'm not jumping on Raptors. He's not got the link in the chat. He's not gonna have the link in the chat for people to talk about, like to talk to him for at least an hour when he's got his fucking balls up and ready. And yeah, I'm gonna go, and that's why I actually dropped your link in my chat, Jay. I don't even think I'm subscribed to you, but I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go over there.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything like that tonight, but I've been saying that for like 6 months now. It's like you take one step out of what's perceived to be the right path or the right square on the chessboard. If like you were using your analogy, and all of a sudden you're a traitor or you're this or you're that, and it's like, whatever, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Well, dude, basically it all began with my gaming streams, and like that was an innocent thing. There was no gay ups. It was not. I just wanted to do something different when no one else was fucking doing live streams. I was like, I'm gonna do gaming streams.
And now I problem with that.
Yeah, right. But the fact is, it's just like, dude, man, chill the fuck out. But I didn't know Matt Barr was doing his own gaming streams behind the scenes. So I guess that's also another thing that probably has something to do with it. Because the fact is Matt Barr is an American. I'm a filthy foreigner.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the market cornered on gaming streams.
Well, that's what I thought. I didn't even know he was doing them.
TJ does gaming streams, for Christ's sake.
Everyone does gaming streams.
Ein and Prime are doing gaming streams. That's all they do
Yeah.
now.
Oh yeah, and you know what? The only person that is allowed to promote their gaming streams on Raptors is Iron Breck and Prime, but that's only because of illegal. And then like Raptors
Uh,
got the balls to call me a goddamn simp for Katie and Scarlett when you're doing the exact goddamn same thing.
Right.
And how am I a simp for Katie when she says she loves me? That's not a simp.
that's why I love when people like say like, "Oh, that guy's simping over his wife." It's like they're married. Like what? Like how is that even possible?
My
I'll just
complaint.
say- Sorry,
My
brother.
complaint is I don't know. I love Dan, great guy.
Yeah,
But
very gracious guy.
I don't. And like when I was on that live stream, I'm seeing all these people come in this chat who I haven't seen, like Bandito and all those guys. I'm like, damn. But it's so funny. It's like, Dan can come on, like, I'll be blunt. Motherfucker stole like $200,000 from everybody, and then he comes on stream, and the argument is like not having late books and like rent. So I'm hearing propaganda.
He did acknowledge it.
I'm hearing propaganda, and I'm not hearing validity.
Yeah, well, Dan Frager back, like now that it's Dan Frager, right? That's who we're talking about.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, this is my opinion about that little cocksucker. All right, he's only back to make a quick fucking cash check, and then he's out again. And that's what he sees as this community is just a quick fucking bunch of fucking F stains.
Right. You feel that way, Anthony?
I could see why people would feel that way. You've met him, so I'm not saying anything like that's like original here, but meeting the guy, I'd like to think that looking a guy in when you're sitting across a table eating dinner and you're looking at him in the face and you're looking in his eyes, which I think you've done, you kind of get an idea of the kind of guy he is.
That sounds really homosexual.
It does, but I know what he's saying.
Wait, because you're not on what I'm saying is you're not sitting at like 500.
You want to touch his leg?
Well, maybe we played footsie a little too, so maybe that's what. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Footsie? Oh my God.
but what you call it? No, what I'm saying is you're not sitting like 500 miles away from each other on the computer.
EFAP'd you two idiots where you fucking showed a transgender picture of yourself where fucking J Dollars sat here and said, I would fuck you. And you're like, yeah, I'd fuck me too.
I would have fucked that picture of me. Hell yeah.
Oh, God, Jesus Christ.
Extremely incorrect.
I was fucking hot as balls in that picture. What are you kidding?
You would no.
I don't know what Commie Mark uses, but every time he puts me through that filter, I come out looking hot as balls.
I call bullshit on that, and I pray to God that you and him will forgive your soul.
But what I'm saying is, you're not sitting on a computer screen 500 miles away from each other. You're sitting in person, having a conversation. Not talking about Comicsgate shit. You're talking about real life shit.
Someone can lie to your face directly.
Yeah.
How many friends have you known that have lied directly to your face?
Oh, no. I know what you're saying, but like what I'm saying, like we weren't talking about this stuff. We were talking about life, like telling stories about his family, my family. You're
talking about his family? What the fuck?
Yeah, like we were having like normal human conversation. Like he was like telling me about like a couple of months ago was his kid's birthday party.
He has a tranny daughter now.
Who?
You just said he had a tranny daughter.
No, I didn't.
Oh, that's how I heard it.
No, I said he had a family.
Oh, my bad.
But yeah, so like I'd like to think that like you can get a decent read on somebody when they're talking like about just random stuff. That's not like of the utmost importance where they're trying to sell you on an opinion or an idea or a product. You know, you're just talking about life.
This is a long thing to whether or not like about like it was a simple question about like what was it again, J Dollar? Something about like would you buy his book or something? I can't remember.
What about Dan? Who do you
No,
know?
he's asking well because you said that you thought that Dan came back for a quick cash grab.
Yes.
And
So is
Jay,
it yes or no?
I'm thinking no. I'd like to
No.
think no. I'd like to think no, I should say.
Okay, that's your answer. Jesus fucking Christ. We don't have to fucking hear about how you sucked his dick behind the pizza
That's not
parlor,
what he's
bro.
saying. I don't understand how, like, if I was in charge of a company or I was the editor in chief or whatever, and $200,000 had been given to me by numerous individuals.
Your mic's doing that thing again.
Is it?
No, I think that might have been on my part because of like my fan was close to my headset.
Oh, do I sound good?
I just pushed it away.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So what I'm saying is, like, if I had raised $200,000 or I had taken $200,000, I would not disappear. You know, something would eat at my soul deep down on the inside, and
to not be a piece of shit.
yeah, I would take it, and then so like the behavior. So if we're talking about Ethan Van Sciver or we're talking about like Dan Fraga in respect to like money given and product not received. So it's at this point I don't want anything. At this point is what I want is for you to recognize that you stole something from someone, and you need to make amends with that. Like that's how I see it, and I am let
I ask a
down
question?
time and time again by Ethan or by
Hey,
by
hey! Before
ahead,
you
go
ask him that question, can I ask you a question, DJ?
Mm-hmm.
Is the reason why you're defending Dan Frager and Lay Books is because that like fucking Hunting Alice still ain't out?
He said that earlier, but go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, I was. Let me just remember what I was going to ask my question. I won't ask it, but I just want to remember it.
So you didn't raise.
I forgot what I was gonna. I forgot
Yeah.
what I was gonna ask Jay Dollar now. No, I did touch on that. I said, you know, like listen, because he said, you know, Jay Dollar mentioned like, you know, people say this happened, that happened, and things are late and stuff like that. Oh, I just remembered what I wanted to ask you. But I said, you know, everybody's quote unquote reasons for something being late is different, but like I have, I said I have an issue with a project that's late, and I can't legally discuss it until it's done. So that puts me in that
excuse that no one can prove. I love it.
That is
no. I mean, no. Hold on. I will be able to prove it later, but I can't do it now. That puts me in an awkward situation. No,
Well,
How
how much did you steal? You stole like $2,000, right?
it was like five grand.
And
Right.
he also
So you only
crashed
stole like
the car.
5,000.
So is that what we're measuring this on? We're measuring it on the amount of money, because either way, somebody's getting fucked over.
So I hear what you're saying, and my
Right.
rebuke to that is I understand everything that you've gone through. I understand the positions.
Lies.
No, hold on. I'm not going to give you any leeway, even though I am totally being a hypocrite and I have never brought this up to you. So you are a piece of shit, but you only stole $5,000.
I see.
Shit. Yeah.
I don't mind the piece of shit comment. I'm confused on the. I'm confused on it because let's break it down to the individual who bought the book. Just because I had 100 people buy a book and Dan had 4,000 people buy a book, those individual people, regardless of what I made and what Dan made, still feel like they're screwed over.
And I don't feel that way.
I feel that this will make everything greater.
Will this hit me?
Oh, it will not.
Oh, can I ask the question real quick?
Yeah.
Before I forget it again?
Ask the question.
So you said you want them to acknowledge that they stole something and make amends. Wouldn't part of making the amends being to deliver that product?
To me?
Wouldn't that to anybody? To everybody.
I don't know what that is, but all I know, so say for example, if we were using you and Dan, you have been around the whole time. You've always been here. Anthony, unfortunately, I did not bestow the same weight subconsciously that I am putting on Dan. I do recognize that. I get it.
Well, that's why I asked you before. It's like, is am I getting a pass because I'm here every day and he isn't? Is that
maybe? Is that what it is? I don't know. I've never thought about that. Never thought about that.
It definitely is, because people are definitely always like more cordial with friends that like they know what's going on with their books and shit.
Yeah,
that's
that
may be what it is. That's the biasism. That's why you can't like be an actual. Here we go. The witches are gonna love it.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. Cause they love him in London and Paris and Tokyo, America, Scotland.
It's horrible.
I believe in Joe Hendry. What the fuck? You turned it off?
Why is it doing that? You see that?
Yeah, it's weird.
Why is it doing that? I can't even.
It's got to be something on the. Yeah, there you go.
It ain't Aussie.
Okay, there we go.
It ain't Aussie at all. It's fucking goddamn Scottish, you piece of shit.
Aussie? No one said that. Anyway, he's gay.
You're gay. You're gay. Look at your lighting, you piece of shit. You gonna call him gay? Honestly, Joe Hendry should rock up your whole background, you piece of shit. Bring some class over here.
Yeah, I think that I think being in the line of fire maybe kind of goes a little, not a long way, but a little ways as to, you know, you got to take the shots. I know that I'm late. I know I can't explain why just yet. So I got to take the shots.
You know what? Even though I don't fucking like you, DG, the fact is that at least you got the fucking balls to still stick around and you don't run away.
Yeah.
And it's like what I always say to everyone. I'm like, I'm always going to be here, man. I will take all your fucking goddamn arrows. You can't stop the goddamn Razi.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. So, like, why?
I'm like the train line in America. It's bound to happen, bitch.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can see that, like, the perception of, like, okay, well, this guy, he's not going anywhere. He's still saying that, like, it's coming, you know, whatever. He's being, you know, he's still a shithead for it being late, but at least he's here and he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, you're not running away. And I'm not saying Dan ran away, but I'm saying Dan ran away. Like, I have, so I'm waiting on, I think, 2 more books from Indiegogo, and that is Ethan Van Sciver's Rainbow Root cover by Kelsey and Black Flag. Those are the only 2 things that I'm waiting on. Like, and after that, that's it, you know. And so, like, so how can people like Dan I'll keep using him because I have not settled on my decision in my brain. How can someone like Dan reconcile this $200,000 issue? And
Well,
so, go ahead, Anthony. What were you going to say?
I would say the first step is to get the book out the door. That would be the first step. That's not going to cover everything. It's not going to it's not going to be the magical cure all and everything's going to be hunky dory, peachy keen. But that's the first step. See, I'm lucky. I have other projects that I'm involved in that have come out on time, so that kind of helps me out a little bit, like where I'm inking things and lettering things.
Yeah, that makes you feel good. And so when I was watching the dance stream today, I saw all of those people. Hold on, Risey. I saw all of those people.
No, I'm leaving. Thank you for having me on.
All right, later, bro. So I saw all of those people on Dan's stream. And I saw Shay, and all the other guys, Will Perdomo. And I don't see that they're happy. I don't see happiness in them. I don't see truth. And I guess that's like the same feeling I get when I watch, like, if I even try to watch an Ethan stream, I get the same feeling and I'm immediately turned off. That's why, like, I only watch like Crypto Face, Sam Price, Jason Casper, the Denim Nerds, and like I have literally stopped watching everyone because I'm turned off. And again, I'm
happy.
Go ahead.
I said I'm happy.
Yeah, you
on
can
my
be
streams.
You're in a different quadrant than I am in.
No, I mean, like, because you were saying people on these
comparison, I would say, because our issues are different. So, like, my issues, my complaints, my subconscious thoughts, and all that are probably not at all reconcilable in your head. Like, there's no, I don't see that. And that's and maybe that's where I feel like someone like a Dan or Ethan are missing the plot on all of this. And that's a shame. It's a shame. There's no skin off my back other than complaints and disgust. I can't. Again, it's the reconciliation. I have the hardest time with people who are not able to confront realities of the situation. And I think that's like the biggest turnoff. I don't know if that's the right word. It's like this weakness, like you have something inside of you that you're not willing to confront, but you're publicly able to come on the internet and mask it in some weird way and still do like a 1 or 2 or 3 hour live stream. Like, like my brain says scary weakness at the same time, scared weakness. I don't know. And I just can't fathom being a person like that. I'd rather have my own personal anxieties and deal with like troublesome house issues over the idea that you've taken a couple $100,000 from some people. And maybe that's what these people are missing. That, like, maybe they don't recognize that they're taking that much money. Maybe they don't recognize that like when you do something like that, you put other individuals in predicaments to where they want to, or not that they want to, but they feel the need or the necessity to defend you or stand up for you. And I also feel a certain type of way about people who behave like that. It's very
Well, it's funny that you say that because I was, like I said, I was watching the Katie stream and Jay Bama was like criticizing uh people for like standing up for Dan and then criticizing Dan for standing up for Rini and Allie. And he says, "Don't take up other people's offenses." And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, isn't that this whole scene? Isn't this whole scene just everybody picking up another man's offense when they're watching 40, 50-year-old men have a slap fight and they decide that they have to go and defend that person's honor?
Yeah, I was watching in the chat. Even though everybody on the live stream clearly had like this uncomfortable look about them while Dan is going on about what he's going on, you had Pete and Raptor in the chat arguing with each other. And it's like, it's really, really interesting watching all of this play out. Like one would hope that someone like Raptor, who's cognizant of how late Dan is, would maybe gamble on being a little bit more upfront about the issue, but instead you go back and forth with Pete. So like there's this,
it's tribalism.
Oh, it's total tribal. Like there's this
because weren't they just like talking Dan over there just a couple of months ago?
That's what I'm saying. Like
but now Dan came out and said Dan, something that they agree with. Now he's like the golden child.
Yeah. Like, this is like demanding. And then Will Perdomo was pulling up the chats in Dan's stream, and he had pulled up the Glacier Comics comment about the female Masons. And I thought that was funny because you remember when he had hit me up, I had started to DM y'all about Glacier hitting me up about Masons trying to murder him and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm very upfront when people confront me. Just like Well Red did. And so Glacier approaches me. He's like, "Yo, the Masons are trying to kill me." And he sends me a link to his Discord, and I indulge him. And I join his Discord, and I'm playing along with what he's saying. And everything that I've said, I say in private as well. So I'm like, my granddad was a Mason. Most of my family are Masons. Everyone at this point knows that. That's why everyone makes the Mason jokes and the Jew jokes and the Zionist jokes. Like that's a part of the Jada, right? And in our conversation that I was having with Glacier, I'm like, yeah, I think Dan is a Mason too. We're just talking the shit. And there was a female master Mason. There was a Mason event at the event where I met Dan, and I was talking about like how nervous he got. But that was not the context of the conversation. It was more in depth than that.
Right. It was a passing comment.
Well, he misconstrued. I'm not trying to. So I laughed. I'm not trying to blow people's spot ups here with particulars.
Mm-hmm.
So he did say what I had said, but it was out of context, and I'm like, LOL, what? And then I'm like, God damn it. And so what I've learned is to be over time, because I've been on the internet since AOL 3.0. I never DM first if I'm going to have a LOL conversation. It will be usually like public chats, and then someone will DM me, and then we'll go back and forth. And then so I find it ironic in such a short period of time that I have this conversation with Glacier, and then I also have another form of conversation similar to like the conversation I was having about with Glacier about Dan, but it was really about his paranoia. So by proxy, that's indulgent. And then well-read starts having conversations to some extent to the same effect about you, Anthony. I find it
that I'm a Mason.
I find it really ironic. So it's like, are all of these people having like mental breakdowns? Like, I just like how many?
That he was paranoid. I gotcha. I was like, wait, was he saying I was a Mason? What?
So and then Wiggle kicks me out of the Discord while Raptor and
Dude, everybody's spiraling.
Doesn't it feel like that? It feels like that.
Yes, it does.
It feels like that. You can't even have a conversation, and none of these people are for real. They're not real people.
Yeah, I know. I want to go to Heroes Con because I know Dan's gonna be there, Lazmat's gonna be there, and Matt C's gonna be there. But I also know a bunch of other people are gonna be there, and I really, you know what I mean. Like I'm not that, I mean, if I see them and they say hi, I'll say hi. You know what I mean? But it's like, yeah.
So could the people who take like $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 from you fit in the same category as ridiculous? Like these are like the issues that I feel, and
Well, I mean, no, I'm not gonna say, because if I say, people are gonna think I'm like simping or sweeping or something. So I'm not gonna say it.
Let me get some wine. Hold on. Let's pull this back. I have to pee and get some wine. Am I still here? All right, so like, I would have a hard time in real life being friends with someone who has taken so much from so many and has not provided answers or adequate information along the way to quell how I speak on the internet.
I hear you.
And then you, even though technically you're in the same wheelhouse as Frega, you are a smaller independent individual who is doing this as a hobby, and there are certain I would say like proclivities that I would give to you as to why I'm not so annoyed with you so much. But at the same time, I suppose in my subconscious, I would still hold like reservations against like what you have gone, like your excuses for what you have gone through. So again, I'm a total hypocrite. I'm a hypocrite through and through. And I just feel like, $5,000 doesn't hurt my asshole as much as $200,000 would. And
again, I'm going to throw myself under the bus here, though. Somebody pay, just because he made 200,000 and I made 5,000. Somebody paid $20 for my book. Someone paid $25 for his book. That one individual, or those two individuals, are feeling the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Hypocrite. Totally get it.
And I would say that, like, if we're going, well, I guess you're throwing also the amount of money and also the.
Well, let me cut you off real quick. So if you had $200,000 under your belt, would it take you 4 years to 5 years? Let's just say 3 to 4 years to produce. And if you couldn't do that, do you have what it takes to quell the issues that come up with you not producing something after someone had given you $200,000? Like these are like real issues. And
no, I it wouldn't take that. Like look, like I said, I have other projects that prove that it doesn't take that long. The one thing I learned, especially like, and here's, I guess, there's a lot of nuances that go into this, right? Well, I guess Dan's not doing everything himself, right? He has inkers and colorists, but either way, right? So you're working with somebody. The one thing I learned with the Hunting Alice debacle was contracts. Have a contract. No matter how cool of a friend you think you are with somebody, have a contract. This way, there's legal pressure. You know what I mean? To keep up your end of the bargain. That's one thing. The other thing is, like the next book that I'm like fully invest.
My line of questions puts inside of your head the ums and uhs. So how do we get past the ums and uhs of your replies to your true reply? So
Well, I'm trying to give my true reply without like having to like backtalk something. That's why I get in
I don't
ums
think
and
you're a
ahs.
scoundrel. I don't think Dan's a scoundrel. Maybe I should maybe after tonight I should start putting more conscious weight on you not providing, what you should. Like maybe I should do that. It's not going to change, our little cool conversations we have from time to time, but like maybe I should think like that. I think it's the money that puts a weight on all of this.
Because before, you said like it could be because I'm here every day and Dan wasn't. But then I'm going to say what I said I wasn't going to say because people will say I'm sweeping. But let's bring Ethan. Ethan's on the internet every day.
Right.
So is it the weight of the money then? Because if he's on the internet every day and he's getting the same kind of criticism that from you that you're also giving to Dan, then it has to be the weight of the money and not that the person has run away.
Yeah, but I have checked out from Ethan. Is there going to come a point where I check out of Dan? Like, because I'm the type of dude like
you got the pink bunny suit.
Like once I don't know why I think like this. Like only Heather and a few other individuals can
navigate it
away from thinking a certain way. Like so, like when I was like Heather's at her desk right now, but like when I was done with Amber, like I was fucking done. Like I am a check out person. And
I'm the same way.
I have completely checked out of Ethan, and I don't want to feel that way about Dan. But I'm not a young lady who you can like.
But they still interest you, Gay Dollar. You are on some level interested in what Ethan Van Sciver does, ish. On some level.
No, I don't read Ethan's tweets. I don't watch Ethan. I don't even hear his voice. I don't pay attention to nothing. But that's how checked out I am. And so, like, I don't feel like I can check out that way with Dan. But could I?
Where is Black Flag? Where is it?
I don't know, man.
I don't either. Dan does. Dan knows.
This is all annoying.
Where is it?
It's annoying.
Is it? How much?
Yeah.
Hello, Dark Gift. How are you?
Good. How are you, 709?
I am well, thank you.
I just sent 7. He never comes on unless I send him a link directly.
I got clout like that.
Yeah.
So, what do you make of this whole situation? Because like J Dollar is finding it hard to. It seems like he's finding it hard to give Dan the credit of his statement tonight because of the situation Dan finds himself in. And I'm of the opinion that maybe all this other stuff is right, but that doesn't mean that Dan was wrong in his statement tonight.
Right.
So where do you sit, 7? Do you think that A, Dan was right or wrong, and B, do you think he has the right to even say anything?
Is this me? I think I'm Starlinking.
Yeah, but you sound when you talk, it talks, so you're good, even though your video is clipping.
I want to know where Black Flag is. I understand that I'm taking a risk every time I click submit payment on somebody's project. Dan Fraga's Black Flag was one of those. I took a leap of faith in Dan. And did he lose his channel? Is this the first time he got his YouTube channel back?
Yes.
And the first thing he does, is Black Flag is. I didn't watch that far. Let's say I didn't watch all of Dan's video.
Gotcha. But you're kind of cutting out, so I can't really. You're cutting out. So it's the first time he streamed on his old channel since he got it back, and that's the last thing we heard.
Can you hear me now? My Starlink sucks. I'm sorry, fellas.
Just turn your video off and just talk without video.
Yeah, video will make you lag and choppy more.
It's your 1997 computer. Oh.
So I guess the question is, like, I mean, he wasn't wrong, right? He was calling for unity, but does he have the right to pop back up and say it? I guess is the question.
That's a good question.
I mean, here's the thing, right? To us, he popped back up, but he's saying he's been around, which means he's been lurking.
That annoyed me.
He's, still communicating with certain people. It seems like on both sides, obviously, right? Because Phil was there, and he's still friends with Ethan, and I think he goes on Professionals from time to time. So, is he allowed to give his opinion? I say yeah. I say he's allowed to give his opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think having Jay and Luke, who are good, I'm good friends with, or good acquaintances with, as far as internet stuff goes, who don't really like stepping into these topics, feeling awkward. Might not have been a good idea. Having Shay and Will, who obviously was using Dan's statements as a open door to start firing shots, wasn't a good idea. I wish they would have just shut up and let him say what he had to say, like Shelby did. Shelby just sat there quiet and let him talk. So did Chad. And that dude in the background at Fraga's house was annoying. Who the hell was that?
I suppose it's one of his homies, I guess.
Guy just yelling in the background. It's like, shut up. Like, my man is cooking. Let him cook a little bit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Everybody stop fucking cutting him off and let him say what he's got to say.
He had cake. He brought Dan cake. Didn't that guy?
I don't know.
Cake, and Dan ate the cake.
Dan ate cake? I mean, all right. I mean, I guess if there's cake involved.
That guy brought cake to Dan, and he ate it.
The drunk guy?
What was his name? Andre?
I think so. Maybe.
I don't know. It's just mind-blowing, all of it. I can't personally reconcile maybe if I had borrowed that much money from a bank, I'd be like, fuck it. Never, you pay back 2, 3, 4 years of payments, and after that, you wipe out all the money that you were given. I can maybe see that, but I don't know, man. It's a whole another level to, do the YouTube gambit, and I want honesty. And I think a lot of people don't know how to give honesty, and they know how to give an answer.
Do you recognize it when you see it? Do you recognize honesty when you see it? Can you smell the bullshit?
Yeah, I smell bullshit tonight, and it's so.
But who did you smell bullshit from? From Dan?
Yeah, I'm not happy. I'm not enthused. I'm not.
Where is Black Flag? I know where Pink Bunnies.
Okay, no, I get that.
Where is Black?
I understand that J Doll is upset about the Black Flag situation, but what I'm trying to figure out is what was the bullshit.
So, like towards the end, when he started getting interrupted by people, he was making a point.
He had surgery.
Yeah. Well, that's 3 years after the fact.
Something.
No, hold on. Yeah, where was the bullshit?
So when
tonight, where was the bullshit? Yeah.
So he had brought up someone who had said something in the chat, and he had gave a lackadaisical answer as to why it's late, and then just a couple of minutes after that, he's like,
let's hear it.
I want to be here to sell comics, on time books, and then
I haven't heard that part.
Caught himself saying that, and then he's like, he had mentioned that his book isn't on time, and I
play it.
I just get it done. And
so the bullshit was more about his book and not the statements he was making about the scene in general.
That Shane and John and Ethan are bastards. No, not Ethan.
Well, he said only Shane and John are, and
Shane and John.
Well,
nobody else. And he didn't know who Mandy was. Who's Mandy?
He knows who Mandy is.
He didn't call them bastards. All right, he just said they were bullying people, which, to be fair, and I don't know much. I'm not my relationship with Shane is very superficial. It was really basically all about the Indiegogo shadow bannings that we communicated and shared notes. But I like John. They are being kind of bullies. I hate using that term, but I'm using Flagger's term.
To Irene and Norwal and the Dungeoneers
and Allie and all of them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, not everyone wants to play that dirty game.
Bitches. Those motherfuckers.
Yeah, and I even said in the chat, I was like, I think people have made a conscious effort, even though they haven't said anything. No one messes with Renee. No one messes with Allie. And whoever the other person is, she's streams with the other third girl. And I think people have done a good job consciously or subconsciously. Like, no one messes with Renee or Allie, or even wants to step on their toes. No one messes with Bancroft and Phil. No one wants to step on their toes. So, it is good that is happening. I don't.
I want all of those people to succeed. I want our gift to succeed. I want Jay Dollar to succeed. I want everybody.
We appreciate that, but here's the thing, and maybe I hate the term bully, right? Because it seems like that term has been SJWized over the last few years. So let's drop that. I think that, and again, I'm not even going to talk about. Well, I'll mention Shane too, but I feel like even Ethan, John, Shane, I just feel like they've forgotten how to read the room.
Yeah.
Which room?
The scene. The scene is the room, right? So if the room if the room capacity is X amount of people,
they are whatever room they enter.
No.
No, you're giving them too much clout.
That's how they think of themselves, though.
Yes.
When they enter.
Okay, that's true. That's probably how they think of themselves. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, if the room has a max capacity, right? Like let's say let's say this scene is like my venue that I work at, right? And our max capacity is 200. So we got 200 people in a room, and the guy speaking in the room for X amount of years is able to hold on to 200 people. And then slowly and surely, the room gets down to 100 people. There's still 100 people sitting in front of him. They're going to think that everything is fine, but they can't see past the lights at the other 100 people who have dipped out.
Yep.
Right? So they're not reading the room.
Time to break out the Kool-Aid. Yeah.
Well, I think
it's over by then. Is that
go ahead.
Overall Comicsgate that the room is leaving Comicsgate as a whole?
Well, here's the thing. I don't like when I say dip out. I don't mean dip out of the scene as a whole, right? Because Bancroft's still here, Reenie's still here, Phil's still here. Everybody's still here. It's just nobody's like unified anymore, and I think that's what I was calling for a year.
Unified to do what? But unified in what? Why should I be unified with you, Dark Gift, Gay Dollar? Why the fuck do I care about you? Why should I be unified with you?
Well, if our end goals are the same, and here's the thing, unity doesn't necessarily mean be buddy and friendly and talk and stream together. Unity could just mean I don't like that person, but their end goal is the same as my end goal in this culture war that we find ourselves in. So out of unity, I'm going to stay out of their way, they're going to stay out of mine, and we're not going to talk shit about each other. That's a form of unity.
Yeah.
Right? Because the end goal is to push out the woke ideology out of all our favorite things, whether it be comics, music, movies, books, fine art, commercial art, whatever it is. And if you're too busy fucking slinging mud at the person sitting next to you, where are we going? Where are we going? We're spinning our wheels in the mud.
Why is it so important? Why do I pay attention to you people? I take a risk every time I click submit payment.
No, it's true.
Yeah, trust is my corner of the realm. I take a leap of faith. I trust you. I click submit payment. You deliver me the whatever it is that I want.
Right.
And nobody has dissuaded me from distrusting them. Everybody is, well, not everybody, most everybody has earned my trust. The leap of faith that I took in, them.
Right, but I think what the issue here is that's fine, right? But Eric July does the same thing, and people are screaming at him. And those guys are screaming over here at all of what's considered Comicsgate. And a lot of people in Comicsgate deliver their books on time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But
and
everybody's slinging mud at each other.
And what is Comicsgate? I consider Eric July Comicsgate. I'll just say.
I mean,
he has a comic book. I have a gate.
At this point, like I said to Ethan on Finch Stream, I was like, what mainline Comicsgate is unfamiliar to me.
I am mainline Comicsgate. For me, not for you. I'm not speaking for anybody else. Just me.
Right. No, I hear you. I prefer the old way of thinking and doing things.
The fun way, when it was fun.
Correct. When we weren't yelling at each other, or if people did have a slap fight, it didn't become this big thing that lasted fucking years.
It was always a big thing. It was always a slap fight. Nasser and Donald didn't get along too well, but nevertheless, they produced Brutus the Badass #2.
No, yeah. But like they had a
People
slap
yelled
fight,
at each other, and yes,
but it didn't last years, right? Like they had,
at least 2 years
between them. What I'm saying, between everybody, this is the problem. Everybody. The problem doesn't always lie with the people that were watching on these YouTube channels having a fight. The problem lies sometimes, a lot of times, with the people watching who were like literally just getting along in a chat 4 hours ago, or now in another chat where two people that they like are fighting, and now they're fighting amongst each other. And then there's like a line in the sand being drawn, and everybody, and it's like, why? These are 40-year-old men having a slap fight. Why are we fighting each other on their behalf? That's like when Jay Bama said tonight, he's like, you shouldn't take up other people's offenses. I'm like, isn't that what you're doing right now?
Yeah. He's oblivious to almost everything.
Like, aren't you sitting here sticking up for Mandy and Ethan and all that against Dan? Like,
I stick up for them. I advocate for them, but do I stick up for them?
There's a difference between advocating like for their product
and sticking up for them
and fighting their battles for them.
Their moral stance.
You were breaking up just there. Halder says CG's. I agree with Halder.
Starlink.
No one is being independent minded. They are group thinking.
Well, I was going to say being collectivists, yeah.
And
that's not true.
Larger in the perspective from the people who speak the largest, the loudest. So what's fascinating about YouTube is even in an independent, like the whole idea is independence, but everyone will wrap themselves around this idea of a common thought. And ever since the beginning, I have spoken out against that. I do not approve with that thought. And so, like,
which common thought?
There's a general idea of things. There is no general idea
of what Comicsgate is
of anything in independence. That is that's counterintuitive. Like that's completely like two magnets opposing each other will push away from each other. Having a community thought in an independent movement is the fucking most retarded, nonsensical thing,
right?
That you can say or you can act.
Yes,
a lot of these people are acting on this idea that in an independent movement there is a community of thought who hold like an extra judicial perspective or a more powerful perspective or a more potent perspective, when in reality they're all fucking retarded. Shane is retarded.
Extrajudicial perspective.
Wiggle is retarded. I'm retarded. We are independent. We have our own thoughts, and no one should grasp or hold wholly onto what an individual says in an independent movement. Like that's what's bothered me. And then like so tonight when I hear Dan speaking jibber jabber about why his book isn't on quote unquote on time or even out yet at this point. You're still not giving answers. You have still not answered why. And deep down inside of me, because at this point, I don't know if it like I don't care, but like at this point, I guess like the way I look at it, like my interest is in independence, but I also like I like listening to what every individual says, and then I like having my very own opinion on what an individual says. I do not follow people. I am not a part of a clan in respect to how people think. Like there was a couple times, Anthony, when I had gone on to the Wiggleback rooms and I had started speaking, and then like all of a sudden I'm being dictated a point of view on you from like rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
take that, Dark Gift.
Like these things are like fascinating to me. Fascinating.
Yeah. Here's the thing. These movements, these things, like what separates us from like progressives and leftists is that we find like-minded people.
Yes.
To congregate with and have maybe like a set of like common goals and maybe principles
shared
and
values.
Stuff. Right. But we're supposed to be individuals. Like we're supposed to like not always agree. That's what makes us great. You know? So the minute like you have a disagreement, you shouldn't be shunned for it. Like I don't shun people for having a differing opinion of me. You know what I mean? Like that's why people go, "How can you get along with Mike Wheeler?" And I'm like,
yeah, that motherfucker. How could you, Dark Gift? You son of a bitch.
Because if there's 100 things that we have on the table and we agree on 50 of them and disagree on the other 50, I choose to focus on the 50 we agree with.
Yeah. And
for you,
Anthony, I think you do one of the better. You know, it's not because you're on the stream. I'm not slobnobbing. I think you do a decent job at getting a quite a bit of perspective. Like so, like sometimes Allie and the girls will come on your channel. Sometimes Doc and someone else will come on your channel. Sometimes I will come on your channel with a few other people. Like so, I think you actually do a very decent, balanced job in respect to who's in your chat and who comes on. You are willing to be confronted with scenarios.
You're not stupid, Dark Gift, and you put on a good show.
Yeah, you do one of the better jobs at all of this. You're not trying. I don't feel like you're trying to hide when you. I feel like you're trying to be a YouTuber. That's how I perceive it, and that's kind of how I perceive.
He's pretty good at it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I
Pretty good
perceive
at it.
Lord Rapper Jesus. He's doing his own thing. Totally fine.
He's kind of good at it.
Yeah,
I suck at it. You're pretty good at it, Gay Dollar ish.
Well, I think my interest is completely outside of like what
being a YouTuber. You have no interest in being a YouTuber.
I don't know.
You like YouTube, but you like to talk about this shit on YouTube.
Yeah, I like personalities and differentiations of opinions.
Mm-hmm.
But like Anthony said, but we can still be on the stream together because there's like the other day I was not getting annoyed with Anthony, but when he was talking about like how he would do this and that and the other to his child or say something to his child or whatever out, and I was kind of interrupting him, and he was slightly annoyed with me, and you know I was slightly pulling hair, but him and I, like, we will get on with our day.
Right.
And it's nothing.
Yeah.
I think some people have absolutely no conception of that.
They would have held a grudge for a week, if not longer.
Like, I don't know. I love you. YouTube is the best invention.
It is. It's brilliant.
The Bible. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, it's
That's a fair comparison.
And I only have interest in people who are thinking kind of like I do,
Funny.
or like they have some type of
like you.
They watch other people, I guess, and they have an opinion, and I think that's more fun.
Well, you saw like today, like I saw, you got like Joe Frago, right? Who like for like the last year, me and him have been going back and forth.
He hates you.
Because, which is weird. I didn't interact with this guy for 4 years, right?
Stupid.
And then like a little over a year ago, right when the whole Riley, Tony, and Katie thing blew up, right in like February, there's a tweet of somebody tweeting for Riley saying Riley got his account suspended, and the last thing I saw was him arguing with Matt Barr and the Slumlords, blah blah blah, basically kind of insinuating that we got him nuked. And then Joe Frago comes in and goes, yeah, the Slumlords got my Twitter account nuked. And I'm like, whoa, first of all, didn't even know you were still around, pal. Like what the fuck you talking about? And we had an argument, and I threw in his face his like reputation he had back in his war campaign days.
Oh yeah,
in the war campaign Discord.
He talks about that.
And he, and basically the reputation he made for himself was he was the CG simp, right? And that's all I said, right?
Oh,
and
that's
he
the
turned.
reputation I'm making for myself is that I'm the CG simp.
Well, meaning like the CG women simp, not just CG in general, just the females, right?
Oh.
So, and that's all I said, right? I've never mentioned that before, ever. Never really discussed it until it's like, except for that one time somebody told me about it. And I don't remember who that was, to be honest with you. It was so fucking long ago. It was like 2019. And he started saying I was calling him a sex pest, and I'm spreading these rumors and talking about him in back rooms and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, I've never said anything other than to your face, like.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I never called you a sex pest. And then finally, it was like right before the Ethan Zaid cockfight. He was like, I said it to him again. I go, bro, I'm just saying something that like was told to me 6 years ago. And he was like, oh, really? And he finally acted like he got it. And then he's in my chat, super chatting me like $40, $50 worth of super chats that night. I'm thinking,
did you read?
I read all of them.
Okay, good. All right, that's good.
And I thought everything was kind of squashed. I'm not saying like we were best buds, but I just figured like the beef was over. And then I see him, fucking Johnny Scab gets fucking pissed off because I corrected his grammar. I've never seen a grown man cry because he got his grammar corrected on Twitter. Like, and then there's Joe Frago talking shit again. And I'm like, you motherfucker. So we started going at it. And then today, there's Vicky bringing up the fence sitter thing.
English.
And I'm like, I can't believe you'd think that, like, I think the fence sitter thing is serious.
Yeah.
Like,
something you said. Yeah, it was cringe. Like, so I guess what, like, deep down inside, maybe I'm just surrounding myself around idiots. Maybe that's what I'm doing. Like, maybe I need to find a new, like, I like to think, I've read a couple books in my life.
right.
I'm not saying I'm smart or I'm a genius or anything like that, but like, I am so tired of these non-consequential conversations. So tired of being ripped off. I'm so tired of having, the same conversations we've been having for 4 or 5 years. Like, and it, like, where do I gotta go to find someone who's smarter than me? Uh, where I can be around, where I'm not like surrounded by fucking idiots. Like, like, where in my life, besides like completely piecing out, do I not? How do I not?
Well, that's what that's what I try to do on Wednesdays, right? I try to talk about anything and everything other than what the hell is going on that day on YouTube or Twitter. On Wednesday nights, I try to bring up pop culture stuff, political stuff, so we all can get like a little taste of what we like to talk about and share our opinions and maybe fucking joke around and have a good time and like rip on each other. Like, nah, your opinion sucks. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah. Like I just, it's like somehow DARPA on YouTube has trapped us inside of like these group of fucking retards, and we have no way of escaping. And like the ones that aren't retarded, some of them got a lot of money and just disappeared. Like there's so many, like, I don't think people understand how consequential their behavior is, especially if you're in a I don't want to say like leadership position, but like especially if you're like in a position of like the wise man or a sage, or like you're a wizard or a warlock or something like that. Like are you like this in real life? And like there's so many questions that I think because I'm insecure, things like that, like autistic, like I just hash out in my head, like, are you worthy in some respects, as if I'm something to place a worthy
right. Well, like I was having this conversation like with somebody, I think on Twitter, maybe it was on a stream, maybe it was both. Kind of again bringing up the fence sitter thing. I was like, people like to joke around and call me the fence sitter, but I'm really just kind of like a neutral guy that I have my opinions and then I always share with yours, but I like to get the opposite, an opposing view sometimes. And there's like these communities that make up this scene. You got the Rippaverse, you got CG, you've got all the other adjacents like the Bancrofts and the Reenies and the Phils and all these things surrounding this area. And instead of looking at it as a fence, I tend to look at it as an aisle in between. Like, how in politics you say reach across the aisle, right?
Right.
Well, I'm not putting myself on any side of an aisle. I'm navigating the aisles and I'm trying to meet people and pick up people that tend to not really want to wade in the muck so much. I mean, we could talk about it, but like actually wade in it and be a part of it. And I actually enjoy comics. Or whatever it is. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm navigating those aisles, and hopefully if I can, meet a couple of cool people on the Rippaverse side, I'm cool with that. If, CG, I've been around CG for years. I know a bunch of really cool people from CG. I'm cool with that. These new little factions, because of whatever bullshit's happening, the what do they call themselves? Phil and Narwhal and Reenie with their show. The the Creators Block crew and the Bogan crew and all these like little other crews. I'm just going up and down the aisles and I'm like going like, we still cool? Cool. Come hang out with me. We still cool? Cool. Come hang out with me. You know what I mean? And like, I just, there's certain aspects of these aisles that I maybe stay away from. You know what I mean? I definitely stay away from the uppity side of things because that's just toxic. It's too much. It's fake. A lot of it is fake outrage, and
total fake outrage.
Yeah.
So like Halder, let's just use him because he's in the chat right now. Very good artist. Does Twitter drawings, like he'll do the speed runs through his drawings. And I'm not trying to speak for Halder, but like you know, he's willing to speak in the chat. He's willing to put out this art. He's not willing to come on streams. So is it because it's dangerous?
Nah, some people just don't want they're not looking for the spotlight. But speaking of Haldir, again, and his Twitter posts with his art, look at the people who he tags in them.
Oh,
The people who he tags in them, a lot of those guys would never sit down on a stream together and they hate each other. But Haldir likes him and they like Haldir. Nobody fights in his threads. Right? Everybody just likes it and shares it and says good job or, this looks great, blah, 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 but no one fights in it. Right? Because he's not sharing his opinion, I guess, so they just it might be smart, Haldir.
Yeah.
But if you're going to share your opinion, you got to be willing to take the fucking
Oh, he knows how to speak.
fallout.
It's not a problem of his, but my argument is the stupidity that comes around with streaming. It's almost like I'm not saying Halder's an introvert. That's not what I'm saying. But say for example, someone who is an introvert, who's an artist like Halder, and can do what he can do, they would never ever dare come online because some of the thing could you imagine? No one wants to go through what Greenie has gone through. No one wants to go through what Plaster Harris has gone through. They're this fear porn. I'm being autistic and speculative right now, but I almost feel like people like Ethan on purpose destroyed this independent movement after an X amount of time. So there was no way to be an independent and come and play in this arena. Everyone has been fear factored the fuck away from this. Because
I'm gonna say
it's you know that over the last 6 to 7 to 8 years, the amount of people who are willing to come and play this YouTube gambit has dwindled down precipitously. The amount of people who are willing to come online and give themselves to YouTube, they're ran out. They're gone. They're
yeah, but a lot of those people did it to themselves. It had nothing to do with larger creators.
I don't know. I'm speculating, saying
hey, I can give you a few examples already.
So no.
Look at Trash Compactor. Trash Compactor imploded.
What's that?
That was Testify and Stu as Soy Rage, and they had their show. Wiggle was on there. That whole show self-imploded. That had nothing to do with Ethan. That had nothing to do with anything else. They started.
This was well before the nonsense we're playing with right now.
Okay, but all right. So another one, Graded Point 5, self-imploded. They started fucking each other over.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of them that did that. Fucking what's his face? Rotten Glory. He just fucking got himself killed or arrested or something. Who knows, right? Oz Arch just quit. They not for any other reason than just whatever it was. So
you don't think some of the people along the way, after seeing what they've seen, have said, "Thanks for the offer, but I'll have to pass." You don't.
No. I definitely think that some people did not mesh with Okay, here's what I think. Want to know what I think? Yes, I think that some people went thinking that they needed to go to Ethan or John. Didn't like what they saw as far as what their trajectory and goals were and how they wanted to go about getting them, and decided to opt out totally, giving them too much clout rather than saying, I'm just going to do my own thing over here and hang out with everybody else. Because everybody, for some reason, looks at like these guys as like now with Shane, coming in a couple of years back, as the Holy Trinity.
I know. Like there's no one else.
And that goes for the haters. The haters look at them as the Holy Trinity or the evil Trinity. You know what I mean? And it's like you give so much power over to these people that way. Like, they're just men, guys. Like, Ethan's only a year older than me, and I'm like, what, 6 years older than John, 10 years older than John. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're just men. Like,
well, you heard my argument, right?
Yeah. So in a way, I think you're partially correct, but I think it's the mentality of thinking that you need to be over here to succeed here.
I don't
like you
think that at all. Yeah.
No, I know you don't, but I'm saying that these people that have left, they felt like they needed to put their eggs in this one basket, and because they didn't like the shape of the basket, they decided this whole scene wasn't for them.
Yeah.
And that's a retarded mentality.
Well, I personally think, man, this puts a fear factor in a lot of these dudes. You know what I mean? Like it really, I'm not saying it becomes a fight or flight issue, but it is a fight or flight issue. And I'll use Haldor again as an example. If the insanity had never transpired like it did, could we get other individuals who actually have some artistic value to give? Do you think a couple more people could have come out of the closet, so to speak, and been around this independent YouTube arena, like, or do you recognize that some of the fucking nonsense that like Ethan and what John has been doing recently and these guys actually, I feel,
Oh, they're not helping. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
yeah, but like
it's fucking there.
See, here's the thing. Just like I think people putting all their eggs in a basket on these guys to try to succeed, right? Like all these people, like you need to get on Ethan's channel or John's channel to make it in the when you put like that much power into an individual, like in a positive way. The opposite is also true. Saying it's all their fault is putting like all the negative eggs into a negative basket. It's like you're giving them way too much power. But I'm trying to say this without taking responsibility away from them. But like to say I don't know, like that's what I like when I hear people say it's all their fault. Well, it's kind of all a little responsibility falls on the shoulders of the people watching that are saying all this, right?
Well, then you start lumping people. I don't know. I hear what you're saying.
And when I say that, I say that like the people like again, like me and Pete have kind of squashed things, but you got your Pete Callens who are diehards, right? And then you've got your Raptors who are total like detractors. I hate using that word now, but it seems like that's the word du jour. But you know what I mean? But they're putting all their fucking eggs on like the holy grail of Ethan or the holy grail of John. Like it's like watching people who don't like Trump, who hate Trump, like the never Trumpers. And like diehard MAGAs, right? He's Hitler. He's the next coming of Christ. It's like, dude, he's just a man. And you're either gonna agree with some of the stuff he says, and you're not gonna agree with some of the stuff he says. But hopefully, some good comes out of it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, if I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but like, yeah, but like to put like they could do no wrong. It's kind of bullshit to say that they've done all the wrong and they're the only ones that have done all the wrong is bullshit. I'm sorry, it just is. You know, love Rini, love Phil, love all these guys, but let's just say that like if they didn't let their feelings get in the way of certain things and got butthurt about certain things, maybe certain things wouldn't have transpired. Not to say that maybe the reason why it happened wasn't because Ethan or John or whoever it was maybe didn't start it, but if they had just left it alone or like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how much more I can explain it.
I got your train of thought.
Yeah.
Completely. And I recognize that perspective with some individuals, and I guess, you know, supposedly I am speaking in generalities, I suppose. But it is very just like liking a baseball team or a basketball team or whatever. I feel like this is the type of behavior that's promulgated in this ethos that we're all involved in.
Right.
Everyone has a different weight. Yours is a very, like, your weight in this argument is slightly heavier and different from certain perspectives. Totally understandable. Then it just, but at the same time, like, your argument is, assuming that everyone should be on the same page and recognize it from the way you do. So, like, fucking A. Like,
I learned a long time ago that like you can't lead a horse to water, you know, in this community. You know?
You know, maybe it's, I don't even know why I have this thought in my head. There is, like, there's a covenant, right? That is, for whatever reason, in this community. And in that covenant is, like, from the royal perspective, there's like 3 or 4 headhunters, and then, you know, you got the pawns in the mix, which, you know, I guess would be like yourself, Bancroft and all that. And that, like, that's my thought, amalgamating all of y'all together. Even though, like, I will make arguments saying that YouTube is so big, it's so vast, there's so many of this, that, and the others. So then, like, you know, I listen to myself, like, what am I even complaining about? And
the issue too is that a lot of us, like the people you just mentioned, me, Bancroft, a few others, have been around this scene so long that a lot of the audience we built up was from this scene. So to like try, you know, and like, I agree with you. YouTube is like, that was the whole thing of like when all this shit went down and I said, I gotta like regroup and redo something here. Like, this can't just be about everything going on here in Comicsgate. And I went to indie slums instead of CG slums, was to try to branch out. And like, I knew it was going to be a long road to get there. And like, two of the pieces in that puzzle were Bat Sauce and Kitty. I'm still looking for a legit independent musician to bring into the scene. I want to hear about how this culture war has been affecting not just comics, because we get that all the time. We see it all the time, right? That's like where we come from. We even get a little bit of the movie aspect because of we came up watching Geeks and Gamers and Friday Night Tights, or before it was even Friday Night Tights, when it was just Nerdrotic and a couple other people. You know what I mean? Like, we watched these YouTubers because we were like-minded. You know, like, oh yeah, this movie sucks. This is getting injected here. Now everybody wants to trash on them. Why? Because they're doing the same thing. Well, aren't we all doing the same thing we were doing 7 years ago? Why are we getting mad at them? There's a new person getting red-pilled every day. And they found, like when we got red-pilled, we found these people when they were just starting out. Now they're established, they got a bigger audience, and they can probably help red-pill new people every day. So to them, it's new. And to us, maybe we stop watching them, but we don't got to rag on them for it.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're serving a purpose.
So we all just need to find a way to escape, or this is me, not we, and never speak about it again, right? Like,
well, it's going to be kind of hard to, but you'd have to escape. Like, I agree with you to the fact that, like, we need to be, like, reaching other areas and like getting other inputs. Like, how is this shitty ideology affecting music, and what are independent musicians doing about it? Right. And on top of that, when they come on like a show like Slumlords, where we're pulling up like articles or like, certain things, getting their perspective on it. Like, they don't know, like, maybe they see it a little differently. Maybe they see politics a little differently because it's affecting them differently. Right. So that's kind of like where I'm at. Right. Now, obviously, certain things are going to come up and they're going to need to be addressed because we're in this space, right? We're in this space. There's no getting out of this space. For people like me, anyway. For people like you who aren't a creator and maybe aren't even going to back another comic book for the rest of their life, different story. The only thing holding you back here now is, your personal relationships with guys like me and Dillard and Elasmat and Panatra and, you know what I mean? So... and we love having you around. I don't want you to go anywhere. At least I love having you around. Let me not speak for everybody because I get in trouble for that a lot. But but my hope would be that like doing something different like this would make you be like, you know what, I am gonna back another comic book, even if it's a year from now.
Right.
Right. Maybe you will. Maybe you'll like, you know what, I didn't like the looks of Pariah. But this new Jake Bishop book Doc's doing looks really cool. Maybe I'll pick it up. You know what I mean? Like, that would be cool.
My I don't want to say I had a vendetta. That's not what it is, but that's the first word that popped in my head. I don't like adults who do these weird things in real life, and then like it's just very awkward to like everyone is a letdown from the higher tier perspective. Like even Bill Tucci at the point, bro, I was buying She comics in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and there are some things like so like I need to move on. And like what you are trying to do with your streams, but still hanging on to the folks that you come accustomed to. Like okay, here's some good perspectives. Like my brain is a crazy brain, so I rather hear positive remarks than negative remarks, and I have completely wrote. I have done my journey through CG. Right, like I started, and I feel like there's an end. And I'll still buy comics. I'll maybe every once in a while buy books, but like I feel comfortable. Maybe that's why I've been doing like the kind of streams that I've been doing is because I've convinced myself that none of it is worth it. And I'd rather just move on. And I guess I'm happy with that. And just speaking the words out loud is more beneficial than just telling yourself on the toilet when you're taking a shit.
Right.
And so, I kind of got when I was seeing Elasmat speaking the other day, a couple months ago, not to joke Elasmat or call him out or anything, but maybe those were like the last couple things I needed to see to recognize I don't want to necessarily I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to participate. I don't want to, because really all you're doing is digging and digging. You're fucking with people. You're giving them a bad day. You're stressing them out. You're negative.
Right.
I'm trying to move on past that negative mentality.
You and me both.
Yeah. And I've been really contemplating, because I do want to do the YouTube thing. I do want to speak online. I don't know. I'm truly not happy with the way everything has gone down, and it's really saddening to some degree. Because you meet people in real life, you have these cool little friendships, but it's all antiquated. It's really not really. It holds no real value. I mean, there's a few conversations that I have on the internet now. I guess what it is I am so tired of hearing the same thing. I'm so tired of seeing the failures that I've been seeing, and I've never been so disappointed in the male behavior like I have been in the last couple of years. But at the same time, kind of excited about it because I do like.
I promise I won't use ellipses as much.
Huh?
It's just making an inside joke.
What did you say?
I promise I won't use ellipses anymore.
Ellipses? What are you talking about?
Ellipses.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The only reason why, so I was in my head this week a little bit, and then Heather had said something. She's like, "You gave me the evil eye," or whatever she said. And no, it's not what it was. Even though probably at that time my mind was doing that. And he reads my face best. But I feel like I'm at a dry well, and there is nothing I can learn, gather, ascertain, create, bond, and like I said earlier, speculating. I feel like Ethan almost kind of did this on purpose, along with a couple of other individuals. So it's interesting being in the end of caring, right? Like I'm at that end. Like my
So
care,
I gotta ask, because this is like a thing. Like, people say he did it on purpose. Like I don't understand that. You have to explain that to me.
Did what on purpose?
Whatever you said, I feel like Ethan did this on purpose.
Oh, like destroy. So, I'm sure you've met friends like this. They have like the best thing going for them, and they reach a certain type of success, and then once they reach that, the human ego takes over, and you're. I've seen a couple of guys do what Ethan has done in his life because of cash, and like one of my old bosses, Sean, they will ride the steps to glory, but as soon as they get there, it becomes a destructive thing. And I feel like Ethan is that type of character.
So do you think that it was purposely done? Because that's the word you use. Or
Yeah,
do you think, or like it was calculated, or do you think that like I said, like the ego took over and they're just not reading the room? They think their shit don't stink and that they can
I
do
think
no
it's
wrong.
both. So you can never truly be unconscious to word daggers. So just like I was explaining a few minutes ago, my mind was in a different place this week, and Heather caught me in a certain facial expression that because she's been around me for so long, she knows, right? So people who can recognize things like Heather can about myself are able to, but they're not truthful. They are able to capitalize on being viciously obtuse, and it's a very interesting way to live your life. It's also a very interesting way to behave on the internet. Like, it takes a certain person to be able to do like what Ethan does. That's why Ethan is one of the only individuals who is able to do what he's done. Then you got people who try to copy him, like John Malin or Shane, things like that. So, like,
yeah, but do you think?
Good.
I don't know. I don't know if I can put it all as some like evil mass calculated plan.
Yeah. So it's not so it's like I was just saying.
It makes no sense to sink all this money into a lawsuit for something and destroy it simultaneously.
But it's totally within reason. It's totally within reason. Especially with people who have a inclination to use passive deceit, right? So it's like when you're live streaming, and I'll use the word obtuse again, and you're being obtuse to the reality of the fact that you don't have Rainbow Brood out. Like, it takes a certain type of character, a certain type of behavior to bring out this lying, passive, block off-ish type
Couldn't that just be arrogance?
Yeah, arrogance. And then your answer, that's kind of actually what annoyed me tonight with Dan, because I actually, like, Dan actually gave me a hint of Ethan tonight with how he answered why his book isn't out. So it's like, another one. I'm not saying he is, but it's like, it's hilarious.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is, like, wouldn't it be struck up to more of a character defect than a purposeful?
No, because that's you can say it's character defect, but when you have smart people like this, it's not a character defect. That's a conscious decision that you're doing. So you're consciously being this way.
Well, okay, hold on. Let me
and
me
being at the same time.
Yeah, hold on. Let me clarify. So the character defect wouldn't be they're just stumbling through, right? Like you're saying that to be purposely obtuse about why you're late on a book. Yeah. That the character defect is thinking that doing it more than once, doing it more than twice is gonna fly. Like that's the character defect.
Yeah, and you know what's so interesting is that people like who are really good at like repeating intros. You have hit that radio show tier to where your lines are almost a script, basically a script, and like you can tell when someone is no longer like once they've reached a certain type of celebrity, you can tell when they're no longer being truthful with you, sensitive to your, they're not empathetic to the reality of the situations going on. They give like these passive answers, these oh woe is me answers, these excuses answers. Like it's like they've monetized procrastination and they've built empire off of procrastination, wittingly or unwittingly. And I also find that a fascinating thing with some of the characters that I have come to speak to on the internet. So it's like when Well Read was trying to yabber to me online about these woe is me things, like I'm a grown up, I'm a male, I recognize, I see, I understand. I also recognize and see and I understand other people's perspectives, and we should have this back and forth to rectify how we both perceive these scenarios. But when you start delving into me with nonsensicals, drama infested paragraphs that you're one, you're falling victim, two, you're a follower, three, you can't make your own decisive independent thoughts of your own, like, and this is what's completely disgusted me about like so many individuals about CG. Like I've never seen so many scoundrels in one place, and I've never seen so many scoundrels actually do such a good job at befriending you and also butt fucking you at the same time.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, not only with like sales and things like that, but also like
just in personal relationships.
Yeah, it's very like it's one of the best case studies that you could ever have on the internet. Is like going through CG YouTube.
Dude, last year, the tail end of last year was very eye opening in that regard for me, and it was.
I had my moment.
It it was getting like, infuriating a little bit, but I was more like, intrigued, like this kind of person actually exists and was in my sphere, and I fell victim to it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's insane.
You got played, and then they keep playing you.
Yeah.
I have to go pee real quick. I'll be right back. I have to use some mouthwash too. I spoke the end of it. Yeah, I have to pee, get some smokes, get some wine. Look what's on the screen. Blackface. I love it.
Oh, jeez. You probably should take that down.
Now we're gonna turn it up.
DJ Sonny, don't think it's time to get it on. Use a Reedy, y'all and be relieving stress. I got my phone. All my niggas been what on my chest to kill a piece. Niggas striking them, we gon' leave them staking in the ditch. Niggas say they done with me, and niggas say we tight as hell. Niggas I ain't still no more. Busters, I can't fuck you tell. Niggas act like bitches, so I'd rather see them niggas dead. Keep your face down on the ground, just for that baby shit you said. DJ Sonny, don't think it's time to get it on. Use a Reedy, y'all and be relieving stress. I got my phone. All my niggas been what on my chest to kill a bitch. Niggas striking them, we gon' leave them sinking in the ditch. Niggas say they done with me, and niggas say we tight as hell. Niggas I ain't still no more. Busters, I can't fuck you tell. Niggas act like bitches, so I'd rather see them niggas dead. Keep your face down on the ground, just for that baby shit you said. Trying to be hard, but my 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 trying on the niggas time, putting all that on the head on the niggas time, putting all that on the head on the niggas time, putting all that on the chest to the pipe. It's just time to be hard, but my trying 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 to be hard, but my head on the niggas time, putting all that on the head on the niggas time, putting all that on the head on the niggas time, putting all that on the chest to the pipe. Raise my step in chest to the pipe. Raise my step in.
Shane and John are streaming.
So when I was peeing, bro, I always have the greatest thoughts when I pee. Am I unmuted? So,
Yeah,
like,
you're unmuted.
in my head, like I have gone through some trials and tribulations in my life. And I'm not saying, dealing with y'all is a trial and tribulation in my life, but I have never been as dissuaded and
Disappointed in humanity.
and put, like, man, I made that indie drops webpage, right? Spent months on it. I spent months on art. I have taught myself how to draw like some Japanese artists and things like that, but I feel like it was a waste. Complete waste of my time.
It's never a waste, bro. It depends. As to say, it depends on what you were doing it for, but for the most part, I would have to say it's never a waste.
Right.
It's never a waste, man. I mean, dude, all I'm saying is this, right? I was having you were on the stream where I was talking about, the tripping story, right? And then like I was on another stream with TJ where I was talking about how maybe it was the same one where I talked about like getting stabbed by an ex, like talk about trials and tribulations. Like I've had so much shit when it comes to personal interactions with human beings that would like make you lose faith in humanity, and but none of that holds in comparison to like stuff that like I've either experienced personally or seen others experience, like I have in this scene.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. What time is it right now on the East Coast? Is the time change, right? Or is that tomorrow?
Oh, shit. Is that this week?
That's today. It's right now.
Oh.
I'll be right back a second.
Yeah, I guess, I guess that is now. Oh shit, I should get to bed.
Yeah, my mom just got up and she's like, oh. That's pretty cool. Is your mom still alive?
My mom still what?
Is she still alive?
Yeah.
So my mom, she lives with us. She's disabled. Well, we live in her. We have 2 houses. This is the house. And she lives in our house. There was the garage got turned into a suite. So it's like that. The house is like 3,000. Anyway, it's a very long house. But she still works. She's on disability and she still works time to time. But she straight up stopped taking all of her medicine. She was spending like $200 to $300 a month on all of her medicine, and it was never available at the same time. We live in the country and all that shit, and she actually feels like 100 times better now. Like cold turkey, stopped taking all of her medication, all of it, every single pill. And she has like she's had hand surgery, wrist surgery, back surgery, hip surgery, skin cancer. You know what I'm saying? Like disabled as fuck. And she stopped taking all of her medicine, She's completely different. Crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. I can imagine. Oh,
Like,
man. So I told you, John and Shane are streaming, and now fucking apparently the video, I guess, where they were making fun of Rini and Allie got taken down, and Liam's streaming saying Allie strikes Malin. So they're gonna blame Allie on it. It's just so stupid, man. I mean, I get what you're saying. This shit is fucking ridiculous.
this is why I have no. It's I've joked, Mandy, and things like that, but I can't hold a grudge. So like I'll maybe in the heated moment I'll say something about Mandy for like a month. I'm done. I never want to say anything about Mandy. I don't want to besmirch her. I don't want to. She's a woman. I don't. So I don't say anything about Allie. I don't say anything about Renee, because it's already fucking chaotic for the guys. And females see things so much differently. So, I'm not trying to be a part of that. It's one thing in the heat of the moment, talking some shit, being on the internet, talking. That's fine. But like, go over it. Like what John and Shane are doing to Renee.
Yeah. Oh, it's the same. Yeah. What they're doing to her, what they're doing to Allie, what people like you, like bringing up Mandy, what people do to Mandy, like, it's like, go over it. Like you said, go over it. And then every time you go over it, it gets a little more sensationalized. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for some reason, the offense is the same. Like the situation being discussed is the same exact situation, only it's 10 times worse than it was 3 days ago. And it's like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not trying to hurt the ladies. I'm not even trying to hurt the homies. But I would like everyone. I'm not saying they're being vicious. Maybe I'm being too emotional. I don't know what the fuck I am. But like, John, Ethan, Raptor, Wiggle, I can't fathom. Like I was watching what did I watch tonight? The Hollywood Reporter, whatever. I forget what it's called, but it had Robert De Niro, Tom Hanks, the Jewish kid who was in the new Star Wars film, Jamie Foxx, and a few other dudes. And listening to their Hollywood Report conversation, the roundtable thing that they do. Mm-hmm. Shia LaBeouf was on there or whatever. And I was listening to them. I'm like, I wonder if, this is how people like John and Ethan think. I'm sitting here listening to these actors, and they're like conscious of their self-indulgence or how they were when they were young actors on a set, things like that. And, I feel like, I don't even know why YouTube suggested that to me tonight. I clicked on it, I watched it, I'm like, wow, this is a great conversation. They talked about Trump for a little bit in there. I skipped over that. Still good though.
Holy shit! Yeah, I think you're right with the time change. It's almost 4 a.m. I'm like, when did that happen?
Yeah.
I gotta be up at 7:30. I probably should jump off. I should probably be responsible.
If you wanna.
I don't know if I can pull an all-nighter.
I should maybe go to bed too. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, regardless of Braga's shortcomings with the delivery of his book, where you stand on that. Like, I'm not gonna say what you should or shouldn't do. I'm in no position to, but as far as what he was saying, though, I again just want to reiterate that I feel like what he was saying was right. He was saying what a lot of us were saying all of last year. I know basically it's almost word for word what I've been saying, you know. But it's funny because he'll be like, Ethan's my friend, and John and me get along, and this, that, and the other thing. Where if I said something like, where I don't hate Ethan and I think John's cool, I'm a sweeper, but he's cool. Like that, you see the retardedness of all this shit, right? Like it's just, it. I don't know, man, but I think what he was saying was right. I think that we need to get out of this cycle. We're in some spiraling cycle.
Yeah.
As a community, a scene, a movement, whatever. And you know, you're seeing good people get swept up in it. You know?
Yeah.
And I try my best to, like, when we do the Wednesday night show, to like go anywhere else. You know what I mean? Like topic wise, anywhere else, you know, to try to like get away from it. And hopefully, I mean, eventually we're just gonna have to totally ignore all this shit.
Yeah.
More so than I think we've been doing a good job. I mean, we're sitting here having a conversation about it now, but I think for the most part, we've been doing a good job. But we're going to eventually have to just ignore it all.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my brain to get to that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really...
I mean, it's hard because you're going to have people in the chat go, did you see this today? Did you see that today? And it's like, you don't want to be rude to the people, right? Because they're just talking, right? Like that's the whole point of this interactive form that we're putting ourselves on with this chat. You know, they're just bringing up a topic. You know, they're just bringing up something to talk about, and it's like you don't want to be like, I don't want to talk about that. You know what I mean? Like, so it's
You're not
you know.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like there's gotta be a way to like be able to dance that dance in a very respectful and professional way, and still be able to accomplish what you want to accomplish, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess that's what we're learning.
Yeah, so this is what I've been doing. It's so I've been watching this guy, the Den of Nerds, and he's actually oops, I meant to hit live. He's actually changed the way he does his live stream. So he's hitting like an hour to an hour 30 a day. But the way he does it, like he'll hit all the news topics in the first hour or whatever, and then the last hour to hour and 30 minutes he'll take questions from the chat, like things like that. I really like the way he's approached. Like I like the way I like him. He's pretty cool. And then someone like Quinn's Ideas, I really like him. He's this black dude who does these wonderful science fiction. He'll do just like quick videos of books, like just crazy science fiction books. I absolutely love the way he has live streams as well, and they're able to do these 3-hour live streams and not talk about anything but like things that are fun to talk about. You know what I mean? Like, there's a few other guys that I watch, like Crypto Face. I know you said you're about to go, so I apologize. But like these are the guys, man.
Training is
Like, I'd rather listen to someone making $800,000 on a trade than fucking at these fucking retards now. You know what I mean? So, you know, 3 days ago, Crypto Face made like $300,000. Yeah. Great. Yeah, Quinn's ideas. I love Quinn's idea, bro. And he says he hasn't done a video in a while. He said he's working on a big one. But I like the dude's voice, the black dude's voice. He's got a good narrative YouTube voice. That's just like what I'm more attracted to nowadays than any of this other gay shit.
I know. All right, yeah, man, I gotta jump off. I gotta try to fall asleep in the next 9 minutes.
No
I'll catch you later, brother.
Later, bro. Yeah, Quinn's ideas, bro. Quinn's ideas, good shit. He did a video. This is the this one, the three body problem, bro. I fascinated with this book, the three body problem. Absolutely great.
With Verizon.
Science fiction, Harry-esque.
In the cosmos. The series starts in the modern era and spans out to the end of time. Many significant events also take place before the opening of the story.
Yeah, so like the Lu Xinjin, bro, like what a great Chinese, like how did this Chinese guy, fascinating. Bro, you Howder, you China did a TV show, and then America did a TV show. There's one season out called The Three Body Problem. The book. Fascinating. It takes place in communist China. Where, like, it's the story is crazy. It takes place in like the 30s, 40s, or 50s during communist China. And this Chinese girl sends a signal or receives a signal from outer space. And she has no hope for humanity, and the card givers, or whatever they're called, like they're the size of like entire nebulas. Like the creature that the Chinese lady is speaking with, like the song giver, whatever he's called, is like the size of a nebula. And well, yeah, no, I'm lying. That's not how it all happened. Well, yes, I'm fucking up the story. All right, so the person that she's speaking with hates their society as well, but it turns out being people that are the size of the nebulas, and somehow they end up also speaking with the other alien race that is coming to kill, or coming to take over the world, and they keep the alien conversation hidden until like the 90s and early 2000s, when they're creating like nanotechnology and shit like that, and the aliens start putting like visions on all of these scientists. Like, so what the aliens do, they're able to break physics on Earth, and so if you worked on physics or you worked on nanotechnology, they would put all the science and everything. And one of the late in the show, and so they ended up fundamentally understanding what the aliens were about. So the government of the world created people who blot out the future of the world without ever speaking it. And one of these people is played by a white guy, he's dying of something cancer, but it takes the brain out of his head. It's crazy how the aliens thing, we are able to send technology to the Earth, and over like 300 years, the Earth was expanding, and it's a famine, so kind of and then like, bro, this story takes place in like China, modern times, like the end of I mean, the story goes on some crazy trips. So, like, and the story, like, this story will blow your fucking mind. How good! I don't even know how Yu Jin thought of this. And then the brain ends up getting connected by the aliens somehow. They never could get into that. And then after the future, after the person has essentially died, all of the people are in faith. It goes on like it I mean, in China to like millions of years ago. The story is funk. And then they end up doing like these fucking water beads. They absolutely decimate like, all of the space force of the world. And then at different times, some people in these spaceships have nothing to do with Earth anymore, figure out how to space. Other aliens make their own thing, and then they're able to watch, like they're able to take 3D reality to 2D things, completely decimate like universes, like these aliens. There's other parts of it where it's the end of time. Like this spaceship comes to this planet inside of like its own mini universe, which is complicated. Like that part of the story is complicated itself. And they have no idea how this universe exists. Somehow they're able to escape out of the universe, and then they end up going crazy into the future. Like they are able to go light years ahead. So like every light year that they travel is like X amount of thousands of years. So when they find other humans, the spaceship comes to this planet, but they're coming so fast to this planet that it takes like X amount of thousands of years to slow down around the orbit of the planet for the people, but on the ship, it's 2 hours traveling. So by the time they end up getting on the planet, all this fucking will blow your mind. Just the amount of little stories they have. Towards the end of the so it's fascinating. Like paper, written paintings, and like communication and everything that they have, and then you go through millions and millions of years of like the progression of the human race spreading out throughout the solar system, being murdered and mutilated by like tiny aliens size of like trees, and the size of nebula, things like that. So it's fascinating. So these humans somehow live throughout all of eternity, all throughout time. There's no one left. And on Pluto, there's this technology, this crazy door technology that only exists on like Pluto, and then the only written record or the only scribed record human existence is left. Oh, sorry. The like on Pluto, everything is like carved in fucking stone, and then like this door, like as you're reading it, you're trying to perceive what's happening, and then this door opens, but it has no edges, but like it's fascinating. And then like Pluto ends up collapsing, and then the nebula-sized beast, like this thing, it's like called the Singer, I think, and in their society, in this nebula-sized society, they don't have any conscious thought. They don't have any songs. They don't have any music. They don't have any paintings. They don't have any pictures. He ends up using like this sheet of paper, like this nebula style being has this technology to use it like this paper, and the paper can like fold 3 and 4D reality into a 2D existence, and in that 2D existence, like everything collapses. It's like the sun is no longer the sun. It's like a sheet of paper on the plane of the universe. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, I don't know how this man, and then like in the TV show, like going way back into the beginning before it even gets to the edge of time, like the British intelligence is the ones trying to stop all the scientists from committing suicide, shit like that, and they set up these nano wires, like this giant fucking these pillars come out of a lake, and they have these nano wires on them, and a ship drives into the nano wires, and it's slicing all of these children and these adults that are like it's kind of like some type of like some like Waco thing that's in Waco, Texas, like these cults. It's kind of like what these cults are, but this cult is communicating with aliens, and they fucking murder everyone on that ship with these nanowires. It's like cutting these children and you don't see what's cutting any of the, like, the whole ship is being sliced like ham. You can't even see what's slicing this giant freighter ship. It's one of the best books out there, written by a Chinese dude. They completely murder and like another alien race, the one that was coming to Earth. They completely annihilate and obliterate and murder like everyone, absolutely everyone that's in like this space fleet. What's another? There's a few other crazy ass shit in there, and like the dude's brain, who somehow ends up getting picked up in the story by the aliens, and the aliens. It's so the whole premise of the book is these aliens are escaping a universe, a solar system that has 3 suns, and their planet. So in our solar system, we have 1 sun, and we traverse around the sun as we go through space like this. In this solar system, there's 3 suns, and this planet every X amount of years goes through travesty, absolute decimation, because the planet is trying to survive in a solar system with 3 suns. I would say read the books or listen to the books first, and then watch the American TV show. That's better. The books are better than the Chinese TV show. The American TV show does a decent justice on like I think America, because the guy's Chinese who wrote it, and one of the parts of his book was during like the Chinese when all the eunuchs and everything was taken over China, and the first people to ransack a castle when an empire falls are the eunuchs and the eunuchs family. So like the whole principle is based on that. So you have kind of like in Japan and Korea and all that, the public embarrassment. So they would bring you onto the stage, they would put the dunce cap on you, they would beat your ass and embarrass you in front of the people. The American the American TV show makes that a first part of the story, but in the Chinese book, that part of the story is buried deep into the book, and it was like it was able to get them to circumvent the censors inside of China to get the book out. But it's fucking fascinating book. 3 books, fascinating 3 books. And I don't read many fiction books. Lu Jinjun. And then I think there's there is a 4th book that was written, but it isn't by Lu Jinjun. It's by another artist, by another writer, and he writes about the alien. And so in the original 3 books, you don't even you can't even perceive what the aliens look like. You don't know if they're tall, if they're human size, or the size of a bug. You don't know any of that. You get an idea from the book because in the book they call humans bugs. Because what's interesting about like these aliens is they don't know jokes, they don't know, uh, they don't understand the nuances of the human species. And when they figure out the nuances of the book actually does, or excuse me, the American TV show actually does a good job at getting across uh, the aliens' ignorance to humans. So I thought that was quite good. Um, but again, in the American TV show, you do not see the aliens. You see like a human version of them. But in the fourth book that was written by the other guy, um, they're like tiny, tiny, tiny little aliens. But they have existed far longer than the human species. So the way they're able to balance that was quite interesting. It's good. Good. Oh, fuck me. Eden's Endless World. I have not. But I love the cyberpunk books, bro. What is that cyberpunk book? I forget what book it's called, but it's the first time the Matrix was ever iterated in the ethos of modern America. I think it was in 1984, if I'm not mistaken. What is that book called? I've listened to almost the whole audio. What is that book called? I'll have to look it up. Neuromancer. The I've only listened to the audio of it, but trying to find a YouTuber that has. Yeah, this one right here.
Clawed into the bed slab, tipper foam bunched between.
No. Anyway, the Neuromancer book. Who's that YouTuber? There's a YouTuber who does. This one? Yeah, the BBC one. Here's the one. Yes. So I think so. This book, The Neuromancer.
Week now is Neuromancer, a dramatization of one of the most celebrated science fiction novels of our time. The story is set in the future. Case, the central character, was once the hottest computer cowboy cruising the information highway. A thief making his...
It's interesting because this book not only does it mention the Matrix, but it somehow I think people like Steve Jobs and other dudes read these books and made the shit they were dealing with today. Like these guys, what was his name? I forget his name. Whoever the fuck wrote this book? He also wrote a bunch of other. Philip K. No, that's a word. This guy wrote a couple other books that were quite interesting as well that I've listened to the audiobooks about. And then there's another fascinating science fiction book. What is it called? So the downside to that BBC video, it's not the entire book. That's a downside. There's another author. Who was after the Dune guy around this same era, who wrote it. It'll pop in my head maybe. He did a fascinating science fiction book. Just drawing a blank. Trying to see if it was on the side. Here, if we get lucky. There's another one. It's like they had there's another really cool science fiction book where society is in the future and they are so like there's a black hole and it's sucking planets and universes into the black hole, and inside of this black hole that's being, or excuse me, and planets that are being sucked into this black hole, there's like this island of like the last bastion of humanity. And there's also like a story in this last bastion of humanity where these human like beings have existed inside of this universe that's collapsing into the black hole, and their bodies are like, they've been like mutated because they've lived in this realm that's falling into a black hole, but it also has like human beings on an island. What the fuck is the name of that book? It's a fascinating book. And it like tells a story of like these people on the island that are being sucked into the black hole. They want to survive, and then there's also people who are ignorant, and they're fighting to stay ignorant and just like willfully letting their species die. And it's a fucking crazy book. Cannot think of the name for the life of me right now. But it's a very good book. And like the humans that have evolved into these humanoid species as they're falling into the black hole, like it's a really dark story as well. And then the island ends up falling into the black hole, and the island dies. But there are a few humans who survive. It's a really good book. That was a really good book. I just can't remember it for the life of me. I like that book. Yeah, you should listen to it. The longer version is what you want to listen to, for sure. All right, I think I should end this stream. What's the name of this? I can't remember the name of that damn book. That would be a good movie. If they were able to get that movie done. It'd work. TJ, I'm supposed to be going to bed. We had a long, great conversation. You weren't here. I don't understand. How do we move away from everything that annoys us?